what's happening, friends? Trumpeter Bobby Spellman here, and today I would like to talk to you about one of my very favorite instruments to play on this brand new Ridgewood School of Music show.
What the is that?
All right, so what the is this thing? Well, in contemporary New York jazz world, we call this the slide trumpet. However, in saying that, I can already feel all of the period instrument classical scholars getting their commenting fingers ready to tell me that this is not a slide trumpet. Slide trumpet is a Renaissance instrument that is built slightly differently. So I'm going to make a little, I'm going to give you the rundown on the difference between a slide trumpet and what might be otherwise called a soprano trombone. The slide trumpet presumably originated in the Renaissance, although there are no instruments that have survived from that time period. But the slide trumpet was more or less a straight trumpet with a slide built into what would otherwise be more or less the lead pipe. So the entire, rather than the slide moving like this, the entire instrument moves like this while the mouthpiece and the main, let's say, lead pipe remain the same. Now, this was really one of the, it was the precursor to the sackbut, which is the precursor to the modern trombone, but it looked very different. Up until that point, basically trumpets were just straight tubes and you could play the notes of the harmonic series, but the original slide trumpet gave us the opportunity to be able to move the notes around. Now, what one might say is this is more accurately or historically accurately referred to as a soprano trombone. Now, the soprano trombone made its first appearance in 1677. There may have been some before that, but the oldest one that we have is from 1677. And since then, it has rarely been used in classical music. However, it has been and continues to be used primarily as the highest voice in the trombone choir for Moravian church music. So if you're a huge fan of Moravian church music, you are already in the know on the history and quality of the soprano trombone. In the early 20th century, they started making soprano trombones they called slide cornets that were really novelty instruments and ballad horns for jazz musicians. And they were played by a couple of people. Right here, you can see a photo of the father of us all, Louis Armstrong, playing one of these with King Oliver's band. Now, that being said, I was curious, I said, I've seen this photo. I said, did Louis Armstrong play the slide trumpet? And so my friend Ox, who went to Queens College and studied with Ricky Riccardi, who wrote the book on Louis Armstrong, asked Ricky about this. And Ricky said that no, Louis Armstrong did not play the slide trumpet. He just posed for the photo with the instrument. But nonetheless, we can see that there were some slide trumpets, or soprano cornets as they were called, floating around in the 20s in the jazz scene. Now, fast forward to present day, there are a couple people still playing the soprano trombone or slide trumpet. Among them are the great studio trumpeter Chuck Findley and trombonist Wyclef Gordon. But the undisputed king of the slide trumpet is undoubtedly Stephen Bernstein. Stephen Bernstein is based here in New York, and he taught me much of what I know about the slide trumpet. He started his band Sex Mob only to play slide trumpet, and he continues to exclusively play slide trumpet in that band. So you can check out some of their music to hear some really high-level contemporary slide trumpet playing. I also interviewed Stephen for my show Jazztopia, and so I'm going to put a little link in the description below, and you can get a sense for, I'll show you a little clip of Stephen talking about picking up the slide trumpet and starting to play it. All right, so that's the whole history of the slide trumpet. There's one more thing I think it might be worth mentioning is in around 1723, Bach wrote 3 cantatas for trombone, and in those pieces he has a part written for the soprano voice, and he writes it as the descant trombone. So it's possible that Bach was writing music for the soprano trombone. However, it's not really a commonplace thing in either classical music or jazz. All right, but contemporary world, we still have a couple of people playing these things. Now, is it a soprano trombone or a slide trumpet? Doesn't matter what you call it, but we call it a slide trumpet, and not that many people play it. So if you want to go to the source, talk to Stephen Bernstein. He calls it a slide trumpet, so we're going to call it a slide trumpet from now on. And we make the rules, all right? Cool it, nerds. We're in charge. It's a slide trumpet now, all right? But it's a slide trumpet, soprano trombone, whatever you want to call it. All right, so obviously this is a little trombone. That's more or less what we have here. This is half the size of a tenor trombone. So for that reason, it still has 7 positions, but all of these positions are half the size that you would get on your standard tenor trombone. And as such, it is in the key of B flat, although what it's written for is whether you'd write it in concert like a trombone or transposed is up to you, because there's like 5 of us who play it. So you could write whatever you want, and there's no standard, all right? But I like to read it in B flat in transposed because I am a trumpet player, as many people who play this instrument. You can hear that this is an octave higher than the tenor trombone. Well, you still have all 7 positions on the trombone. In many ways, it works exactly the same as a trumpet. It takes a trumpet mouthpiece. Not very many companies make these anymore, and very few of them make them on a professional level. So Jupiter makes them, but they're still kind of novelty instruments. This instrument was made by Kantstuhl, who is unfortunately now out of business. So you could get a Kantstuhl soprano trombone a couple years ago when I picked this up, but they're not around anymore. There might be still some floating around, but it's kind of a rarity. Not a lot of people are playing these things or making them. And part of the reason for that is that valves are way easier to play. If you have valves and you push the button down, it's basically an automatic slide and you're going to hit the note that you're going for. Whereas the very small distance, the short distance between the slide positions on the soprano trombone slide trumpet make it a little bit more difficult to play in tune. For that reason, I love playing this instrument in situations in which I want to be able to bend the notes and create a little bit more of an expressive feel and be able to play a lot with those pitches. So I've written a couple of pieces on which I play the slide trumpet. One of them is with my band, the Revenge of the Cool Nonet. I have an album called Revenge of the Cool that you can find on Spotify and on Bandcamp and various places like that. And furthermore, while I'm talking about it, if you would like to buy a vinyl copy of this album, you can find it on my website below. I've got a closet full of these things I'm trying to get rid of, so if you'd like your own copy of this album, you can check it out. The last song on the record is a blues on which I play slide trumpet. I also play this with my brass band Dingo Neck. I'll give you a little clip of that. So the way that I use it, usually with the blues sound, with the nonet, for example, in that context, sounds a little something like this. And here's a little clip of me playing it with Dingo Neck. All right, because of the slippery nature of this instrument, I often like to play it in free jazz or free music, free improvisation contexts. That sounds a little something like this. So now that you've heard it in a musical context that I've actually played it in, I'll give you a little demonstration on what this thing sounds like on its own. There's nothing that beats being able to kind of slide those notes into place, create a little bit of a vocal quality with it. However, there's nothing that says that you can't play a ballad on this. It's a beautiful instrument. It's a lot of fun to play. I like these things a lot. It takes a lot of practice to get used to the specific slide positions. There are 7 slide positions on this thing, just like on a trombone, but they are half the distance that they would normally be on a trombone. So the difference between, for example, first and second position is it's not very long. So it takes a lot of getting used to play this thing, to be able to learn to play it in tune and to be able to play your scales and things of that nature. But if you're into it, you can find yourself. They make these, in various forms. You can buy one at your, are there still music stores? Does anybody know? We still got music stores left? I don't know. If there's music stores around, you might be able to find one. It's a really fun instrument to play. You can check out Stephen Bernstein's music. You can check out some of my music. You can check out, who else is playing this? Wyclef Gordon's music, to hear a little bit of the slide trumpet or soprano trombone. All right, gang, I hope you had fun with that. A little demonstration of one of my favorite instruments, the slide trumpet. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the end credits like I normally do, but if you want to stick around for an extra 2 minutes and check out a real funky track that I recorded with 3 slide trumpets and some Moog synthesizer and stuff like that, I'll put it at the end. You can check out my tune, Slide Fiasco. All right, gang, I hope you had fun with that. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support the creation of new videos like this one, you can find us on our Patreon page at patreon.com/Ridgewood School of Music. And I hope you have a wonderful time practicing and listening to some great music. And we'll catch you on the next one. See ya. All right, gang. Thanks so much for checking out this video. We hope it helps in your quest for the majesty of musical self-expression. The Ridgewood School of Music is currently accepting new students for lessons online or in person in the Brooklyn, Queens, and New York City area. If you'd like us to help set you up with the perfect teacher for the instrument or style that you're interested in studying, you can find us on our website at www.ridgewoodschoolofmusic.com, or you can shoot us an email at ridgewoodschoolofmusic@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to support the creation of new videos like this one, you can find us on our Patreon at patreon.com/Ridgewood School of Music. There, as a subscriber to the Patreon, you can gain access to bonus content, including bonus videos, exercises in improvisation and different instruments, as well as bonus transcription videos. So, if you'd like to help support the creation of new videos like this one, find us on our Patreon, and it's a real big help. All right, gang, have a wonderful time practicing, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.